The American Revolution happened between the years 1775 and 1783. The war started by the American colonies against Britain, influenced by political ideas and revolutions around the world. The democratic features of the revolution included a call for no taxation, without representation at home, denouncing certain titles such as His Excellency, resentment against profiteers, and the almost equal pay provided to the soldiers. The final draft of the Constitution is a great example of democracy all in itself. It made America safe for democracy. In June of 1776, a committee including Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, and Benjamin Franklin had to write a formal statement with what the colonists wanted. The Congress formally had the Declaration of Independence, written by Jefferson. In Philadelphia, on July 4, a date now celebrated as the birth of American independence, one immediate effect felt was the liberation of the black slaves. That means giving freedom to the black slaves. It also declared that men and women had the same rights.
The French Revolution began in 1789 and ended in the late 1790s, with the presence of Napoleon Bonaparte. Like the American Revolution before it, the French Revolution was influenced by Enlightenment ideas, particularly the concepts of popular dominion and inalienable rights. They helped to introduce the idea that all people should be treated equally by the law and that they should have some important rights protected from government actions. This is a major aspect of democracy.
The Bill of Rights is a list of limits on government power. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution make up the Bill of Rights, written by James Madison in response to calls from several states for greater constitutional protection for individual liberties. The Bill of Rights lists specific prohibitions on governmental power. This event was very important for democracy because it started to give the people the power to decide about their country, and the government has certain limits. Independence of Haiti, 1804. 2 months after his defeat of Napoleon Bonaparte's colonial forces, Jean-Jacques Dessalines proclaimed the independence of Saint-Domingue, renaming it Haiti after its original Arawak name. In 1791, a slave revolt erupted on the French colony, and Toussaint Louverture, a former slave, took control of the rebels. Soon after Toussaint's arrest, Napoleon announced his intention to reintroduce slavery on Haiti, and Dessalines led a new revolt against French rule. In 1804, General Dessalines assumed dictatorial power, and Haiti became the second independent nation in the Americas. This contributed to democracy because with their independence they are free to choose their governors and take decisions because they do not depend on other countries. On September 18, 1810, Chile broke from Spanish rule, declaring their independence and loyal to King Ferdinand VII of Spain. In 1810, Chile was a relatively small and isolated part of the Spanish Empire. It was ruled by a governor, appointed by the Spanish, who answered to the viceroy in Buenos Aires. The governor of Chile, Francisco Antonio García Carrasco, was involved in a huge scandal in October of 1808. Chile's leading citizens called for a meeting on September 18 to discuss the future. It was decided to follow the path of Argentina, create an independent governor, nominally loyal to Ferdinand VII. This independence led to democracy because they can decide the future of their country has started thinking that they can have better governors without corruption if they are from that country.
European politics, philosophy, science, and communication were radically reoriented during the course of 18th century, as part of the movement referred to by its participants as the Age of Reason or simply the Enlightenment. Enlightenment thinkers questioned traditional authority and embraced the notion that humanity could be improved through rational change. This is a very important event in Europe which contributed to democracy because people started to think that kings had not divine power and that everyone had the ability to govern and vote for their governors. It refers to a period of great economic, technological, social, and cultural change that affected humans a lot. The population increased, and this growth was certainly a contributory factor in the revolution, allowing the huge industrial expansion the workforce urgently needed. It contributes to food and salaries so that there would be more population. It brings people together in new urban cultures. Capitalism was one of the most important causes of the Industrial Revolution. Capitalism allowed the new generation of people to gain money and become involved and interested in the idea of investment. The investments allow investors and entrepreneurs to build the inventions that rock the world, such as blast furnaces, railroads, vaccinations, and much more.
Opium War was the direct result of China's isolationist and exclusionary trade policy with the West. In the 1830s, there was one port open to Western merchants. Guangzhou and the Chinese will accept in trade silver. British and American merchants, anxious to address what they perceived as a trade, determined to import the one product that the Chinese did not themselves have but which an ever-increasing number of them wanted: opium. British started to bring cheaply produced opium in the Bengal and Malawa, and this caused discontent to Chinese people, which brought to war. This event contributed to capitalism because the European powers propped up a weak central government for their own economic benefit. However, late capitalism started in India, and for that matter many other developing countries, has meant new technologies, major capitalist and relatively developed state. Imperialism is the policy of extending the rule or authority over an empire or nation over foreign countries, or of acquiring and holding colonies. It happened around 1870s. One of the most important countries colonized by Europe in this time was India. As Britain was a democratic country with parliament, they influenced India to be a democratic and have a very similar system of government.
It was a conflict that happened in 1898 between Spain and the United States. If America had truly lost its frontier, then it seemed that the federal government needed to acquire new territory in order to keep American democracy alive. In addition, after the wars of the 1880s, Native Americans appeared to be pacified and ready to adapt to Euro-American culture.
When China was very weak, the King Court finally started to listen to the appeals of the reform-minded officials. The reformers call it self-strengthening policy. It means that China should adopt Western technology but keep its Confucian values and institutions. Western learning is not only a mean, but it became into something essential, just like a change in the politics. China soon adopted a socialist identity.